My name is Eben Haines. I'm a painter living in Boston, and right now I've got some work on view with 13 Forest Gallery in the How Have You Been show. How did I become an artist? Well, I grew up with two artist parents who tried to instill early on in me that life is much easier when you have money, and so I should do something useful like become an orthodontist. But at the same time, any cries of boredom as a kid was always met with a pencil and a sketchbook and told to go outside and draw or come up with something that we wanted to make in my dad's wood shop later on. Um, as a teenage rebel, I kind of abandoned art and was a musician and decided I wanted to be a musician and do sound recording for a career. But kind of when I moved out of my parents' house and went to college, that was kind of when their lifestyles struck me as being important. That how important it is to rely on your hand and your eye to connect yourself with the world, and to use artwork as a way to wrap your brain around life and kind of ground yourself and find your place. How did the quarantine affect my practice? In a huge way, I'd say. Not least of all the fact that I went from having a 400 square foot shared studio to having a desk in my apartment to work on, which of course was one of the big inspirations behind the Shelter in Place gallery. Um, knowing that so many other artists were in the exact same boat as me, we were all feeling this intense collective anxiety about the world and what was happening. And also not having access to our studios, not having gallery shows to look forward to or to be making work for, kind of having no reason to make work other than to make work to escape the world at large, which is not always the biggest motivator. And so I really wanted this gallery space to be a motivator for myself and for other artists to continue to make work and to have a place to show this large-scale work that they probably never had the opportunity to make before, because we're all bound by the size of our studios and by the ability for galleries to show this kind of work. And I think it really changed my approach to how I make work, how I build my work, and how I conceptualize a show as a whole, because generally I have a few pieces in a group show, and for this I got to take a 500 square foot space and make it my own and do really whatever I wanted to without any kind of financial or time constraints on it, which really changed the way I looked at my own work. I was able to work with materials that I had never been able to use, like giant sheets of lead and steel plates and found furniture that's filled with debris and dirt and paintings and things. So that was a really huge impetus to get back to making things and be excited about work at a time when it was hard to be excited about making new work. The accessibility for the gallery was really important, that it was easy to see and you didn't have to actually go someplace to see it, and that it was free for artists to use, and that the cost of materials is low, because obviously many of us are not working during the quarantine, and we don't have access to our studios and we don't have access to materials, so making sure that people are able to make work anyways was really important to me. And one of the wonderful byproducts of having the gallery and seeing all this new art coming in and being really inspired by what people are able to do on these tiny budgets, was that it kind of allowed me to build my practice back up and to continue making work in a still smaller scale than I'm used to, but closer to my normal art practice, and just feel good about the work that I was making again. One of the really exciting things to come out of all this is that I'm actually able to make some of the installations that I planned in my miniature show. So as part of the Area Code Art Fair coming up in August, I'll have a full-scale version of my cabinet piece that's full of debris and dirt and plants and things. So I'm really excited that some of this miniature stuff is able to manifest itself in the real world, and that's really exciting.